webinar. Thanks so much for attending. My name is Brian Murray. I'm the Director of Account Management here at Boopsie for Libraries. And today's topic is all about Boopsie Analytics. So thanks for joining. And yeah, excited to talk about it. You know, we have some new features, and I know a lot of people have questions about reports and the different things you can do in our new dashboard. So I hope to walk through some of the benefits of that and show you a couple cool things. Anyway, I do leave everyone on mute during these webinars just to avoid any background audio issues. But feel free to type questions in anytime to the dashboard, and I'll definitely leave a couple minutes at the end for Q&A. Next week, October 15th, we have a webinar at the same time, 1 p.m. Eastern, and we'll be talking about our brand new Access 360 integration. So if you already have a Access 360 subscription, this is a good webinar. So it's a brand new integration, a deep integration. It's a really nice one. So please check that out. And we also have a few conferences coming up for the end of, from now until the end of the year. So if anyone is attending any of these 5 events, please, feel free to stop by. I think we're exhibiting at all 5. So, Ohio Library Council conference is this week, but then there's also New England at the end of the month, the Internet Librarian Conference in Monterey at the end of the month, the New York Library Association, and then, of course, the California Library Association, which is right in our backyard. It's in Oakland, and so we'll have a lot of representatives there. So yeah, always stop by. We'd love to meet everyone if we haven't already, and just say hi if we already have met you, and listen to what you need. So you can never be as good to meet face to face. So yeah, we'd love to meet all of you. Okay, let's get started. Again, I was just going to do a quick overview of kind of the history of our usage stats, which, depending on how long you've had your Boopsie app, you may be familiar with, but it's kind of fun to see. And then I'll do a current overview of our Boopsie Analytics Dashboard, some of the benefits, which are nice, and then a quick walkthrough of the dashboard, and then answers any questions you have. Okay, so if any of you have had your app for longer than a year, you may recognize this kind of rough-looking spreadsheet here. So this is our what we use internally. It's and it's also the legacy stats we used to send you. And a little over a year ago, we would just send, as you know, Google Docs and just share those with you each month. And it was a kind of a laborious process and not easy to read. Obviously, if you look at the channels in the bottom bottom of the screen there, you can see it's a lot of GDocs and code stuff, which is not very helpful. And even earlier this year, when you could log in, you would see this. So we tried to simplify this completely, and this was all because of you. It's our customers asked for this, and so it was a really, really big priority about a year ago to complete this project. And we're proud of it, but it's evolving, and we're looking for more feedback. So please let us know. It's we listen to it all, so we're trying to incorporate your ideas, absolutely. Okay, so overall, we launched Boopsie Analytics in May 2014. So the first version, you could access daily and monthly reports for the app's usage in just downloads and unique users. And then a couple months later, we released a few additional data sets allowing you to access queries and the main menu channel visit statistics. And again, queries always are defined in Boopsie Analytics in the dashboard, but it can still be a little hard to understand just how we track some of this. Queries, basically means transactions or clicks. So even when you're doing a catalog search, when a user is searching for a title in the catalog itself, let's say they're searching for Moby Dick, so that's Moby space Dick. That's 9 characters. That's 9 queries for that one, basically that search. So that's how those queries can add up. But it's good to know exactly what we're tracking there. Okay, so one of the main benefits of Boopsie Analytics, we think, is that it really allows you to make informed purchase decisions. So obviously, you have limited budgets, and we all do. But you want to make sure that your subscriptions are getting used, and you want to know where to allocate that money. It's a really, really important way to track that through your app. So you can obviously see the checkouts for most of these databases. I believe they give you your reports, or you can log in to see your checkouts for Overdrive or One Click Digital, Hoopla, Zinio, things like that. But in the app, you can also see how much it's used. So you can see how many queries and clicks you have on your Overdrive channel, for instance, and then you can see how that relates to checkouts. If people are using the Overdrive channel or accessing it a lot, but your checkouts aren't really going up for some reason, and that's good to know as well. And that's we can help improve that integration. Or for your Zinio integration, we're adding a real deep integration in a month or two, so that can help with that. And if you have a Zinio link right now, you can compare those statistics compared to the full integration that comes later, and see how the integration can really improve your usage and your checkouts. So I think resource allocation is really one of the main benefits of Boopsie Analytics. And kind of going along with that, it helps you gauge success. You've put a lot of time and energy into your app. How can we best utilize it in your community? Here's a great quote from Milwaukee. They analyzed their unique users from last year to this year, and it went up over 3,000 unique users in a year. And they put a lot of work into their app and different things they've done, and the marketing, which we know is really, really important to downloads and users. So that's really paid off. And it's great to show, I think, not only your fellow your colleagues, maybe your board, and your community to know how successful it is. Millions of apps are created, I think, every week, if not every day. And most of them don't get used that frequently, or they're used a lot at first, and then people forget about them. So you can't just launch an app; you have to market it, and you have to make sure it's the best user experience for your patrons. So this is a great way to analyze that, month over month or year over year, especially. Great, and another good benefit, it helps you see what the kind of big picture mobile usage is in your community. Americans spend about 86% of their time in mobile apps, 86% of their mobile time, sorry, which probably is 86% of their overall time, possibly. So that's almost 2.5 hours a day on their phone, specifically in mobile apps, as opposed to the other 15 or so percent maybe in a browser on your phone. So you all know that mobile apps are the primary way people access information on their mobile devices. So you have to be really just conscious of how you promote your brand, with that mobile marketing campaign, whether it's just on your homepage, social media, your email newsletters. Make sure that your community knows that you have a mobile app. So these reports can also help you kind of see those seasonal trends and downloads and usage. It can also help you measure in-library services versus, how they access e-content in the app. I think these are all good things to know for your marketing plans or for any kind of promotions you do throughout the year. If you see a real spike in app usage in the summer or maybe over the holidays, maybe you could do a big push or release a new add something new to your app, around that time to get the buzz going and to really utilize that time. Or if you have something in the library you want to promote through your app, make sure you do it at the right time of the year. Okay, so here's a quick a graph we did a couple of months ago. showing some really cool trends in 3 different libraries, 3 very different types of libraries. So Washington State Library is a statewide app, and it was funded by a large grant from the Paul and Allen Foundation and the state of Washington, where they put almost every single library in the state into one app. So you might have seen it. It's called Library Now, and you can check it out at wa.boopsie.com. They've had tremendous increase in app downloads just over this last year. They have also enrolled in our premium library patron acquisition services earlier in the year, where we helped with SEO and a number of different marketing initiatives. Kind of worked as a marketing services agency for them, and their average numbers of downloads per month increased by almost 500%. It's just amazing. And we've also expanded this program a little bit to include larger library systems. So if you do have a budget for that, if you're interested, we can always help you with marketing services for those types of things. And we also use Boopsie Analytics to spot a few other trends that were kind of similar among other types of libraries. And they were just using, our free marketing services, which you can find on our website. And the University of Auckland, for instance, they have a mobile app for their library. They were downloaded 318% more times in the first quarter of this year than they were in the previous quarter. And that was, they just do amazing marketing on their website. And in other ways, around their university. So they do a great job. San Diego Public Library, which is a large public library, but probably more similar to most of the apps you have, they just launched in January of this year and have seen a 55-time increase in downloads since they launched. And they have a really, low cost but a high-quality marketing campaign, which I urge you to check out, including email, newsletter announcements, and some great website promotion, which you can obviously go to the San Diego Public Library website and check that out. So we were also able to see some really cool kind of value statistics for your libraries. Analyzing their kind of how much they're paying for their mobile contract app, and how many patrons are accessing their app on a monthly basis. Most kind of smaller to mid-sized libraries serve through it costs the patrons about 10 cents per month, or the libraries patrons served through Boopsie comes out to less than 10 cents per month, if that makes sense. So that basically cost of their mobile app monthly versus how many patrons are accessing it. So 10 cents per month is phenomenal. If you could get that on all your library services, you're providing a tremendous value. If you think, for instance, printing a library card can cost up to $1, then you could see how valuable a mobile app for your library is to your patrons. We also noticed that the average number of monthly unique users overall increased by 27% from the second quarter of last year to the second quarter of this year. So just overall, all of our mobile apps, the usage is increasing. And that's, people are going more mobile, so that's kind of a trend you expect. But I think people are also realizing, and you're doing a good job of marketing, and people are realizing they can access these great services. And if they didn't know you had ebooks before, they're going to see it right there in their mobile app and be able to use it. There's also some great device usage statistics we found, and some are just kind of interesting. Some you would expect, iOS usage has increased 15% over the last year, although Android is still has the majority of market share, and it increased actually even more by 22%. Windows 8 obviously is new, but it increased its market share by 75%. And then, probably not surprisingly, BlackBerry lost over 200% of its users. So there's some kind of unique trends you can do that way, and it's nice to know, if your own community, what type of devices they're using. So obviously, Boopsie mobile apps work on all these platforms. We also noticed that iOS users tend to just kind of read more. They maybe it's how their devices are, how they function, how the app looks on an iPhone and an iPad, but they spend a little bit more time in the services, and they perhaps check out more items or access your Overdrive or other ebook and audiobook services more frequently than Android users do. Okay, let me do a quick walkthrough. So I'm going to log into one of our customers, Boopsie Analytics Dashboards here. And I will bring that up on my screen in just a second. Okay, so here's Boopsie Analytics Dashboard. This is for actually Broward County Libraries in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. They have really great usage, and they've done some great updates to their app, which has helped with usage, and they promote it very well. So if hopefully everyone is able to log into their own account. If not, just let me know, and right after this webinar, we can make sure you're able to do that. But once you log into Boopsie Analytics, it does give you a few directions here on how to get started, and hopefully it's clear enough so you're able to run reports and access the information that you need. And again, here are those definitions of the terms we use. So we use them internally all the time, and I understand that sometimes that can, if you're not used to it, it can be a little odd. Like queries, for instance, refers to clicks or keystrokes, depending on what they're doing in the app. And again, if they're searching the catalog, every click or every keystroke when they're typing in an item counts as one query. So along, Mark Twain or something, that's 10 queries. And then downloads, the user must download the app and then actually do some sort of action. So it doesn't count downloads if the user never actually opens it up. So I wouldn't think that would happen very frequently, but you never know. It's just so we don't count those downloads. And then hopefully the others are mobile operating system, and then unique users is a little bit more self-explanatory, but it's all included on your Boopsie Analytics dashboard. So I'll just go through some of the different things you can access. Obviously, monthly downloads is really important. And the default is usually just for the last, it'll give you the last year. And for the calendar, if you do want to run a report, make sure you can click on the little calendar icon, and then make sure you do have to click on a specific date. So September 1st, 2013, and it's set to the last. If it's a monthly, it's just set to the last month. So September 30th, that's great. And then you do have to hit refresh to get that specific time period, and then you can see downloads per month. And if you hover over the number, the little circle there, you can see it'll tell you the month, and then the number of downloads to the 1,000 or 1,500 downloads for that particular month, and it just rounds it to that second number. And then the summary is the total for that time period for downloads. Unique users is a little different. If we're going to do roughly the same time period, it just gives you the unique users for the last month, since it's not cumulative. And I do believe it explains that how the unique users is measured for that specific time period. And then queries is always very high, but you can get some specific intel out of this. I think that is important, just to see how many queries there are per device. This is where you can really see. Unfortunately, we can't break it down in Android yet by tablet or phone, but that's hopefully in the next wave or the next phase of Boopsie Analytics. But we can break it down by iPad, iPhone, and iPod Touch. So you can see when you add up the total queries for the 3 iOS devices, It's quite a bit higher than Android in all Android devices. So that's where we get some of those statistics, like iOS users are more avid readers. They may not have many more users or many more downloads, but they tend to have quite a bit more queries and channel visits. And again, here are those channel visits. So I've already ran a couple of reports, but I did want to run one for you so you could see that. So I want to do main menu channel visits for this past month. So September 1st through September 30th. And then again, you do have to hit refresh. The nice part about the main menu channel visits is it gives you this good pie chart. So you can, real quick, you can always copy that and save that image if you want to include that in any reports you're running for your board or for your fellow staff. You can see the summary down here, but I wanted to make that to export for you. And depending on what browser you're using, may open up another window. It may not. So, and here is what the report looks like when it is exported to Excel. Gives you the kind of the overview. But I wanted to take the main menu channel visits report and then put it into another spreadsheet that I have already started. And if you take a look at this. Take a look at this spreadsheet. You can see I have ran these numbers for this library for the last year. So it's monthly unique users, monthly downloads for this past year, and then here is the main menu channel visits for this past month. So you can look Broward because of some of the great app updates they've done. They've added some really nice colors into their app. And they have added some new integrations as well. In addition to some marketing, their usage has gone up quite a bit. So this time last year it was 8,500, and it was kind of flat for a few months, and then it slowly started going up, and now it's really taken a pretty dramatic jump to about 10,000 unique users a month, which is great. And downloads has gone up as well, which you would expect. So if you look at the main menu channel visits, this is where you can do some really nice reports, again, for your staff, and then you can kind of see that they have 10,000 visits, 10,000 unique users, in September, and then they had 186,000 visits to my account. So that's getting used, 18 times or so per user, and then searching the catalog, about 36 times per user on average, of course. And then their e-media about 5 times per user per month. So it's good to know. I mean, we always say your library app is an extension of your library. So the most used channels are always going to be so they can check their account, they can search the catalog, place holds, renew items, pay fines if they can. And then the next best feature is that they can access your digital services, and of course you can get a better ROI on those services. Great, so I hope that was helpful. I'm going to get out of there real quick. And I had one more thing to share with you before I take a couple of questions here. The Washington State Library mobile app, the one I mentioned earlier, also did a Patron Survey recently. I believe it's still live in their app. And got some great results. And I think this is something I encourage you to do as well. The Boopsie Analytics hopefully can provide you some interesting data. But we can also offer a Patron Survey, and this is mostly for our Optimum Plus customers, if you already are, but just please let me know, and I can tell you. But they found some great survey results that I think added to their Boopsie Analytics reports, paint a really good picture of how people are using the app, not only for their frequent library patrons, but their infrequent patrons as well. So really it showed it was an extension of the library. The majority of the patrons access the app more than once a week, and all the patrons, the majority, did some sort of in-library service transaction through the app. So they either placed a hold on an item, which they would have to go to the library, of course, to pick up. They renewed an item, or they checked the library locator or the calendar, something like that. So it was great. And a lot of them, of course, access digital services as well, Overdrive eBooks, one-click digital audiobooks. But I think we were a little surprised to see how many of the app users were also utilize the in-library services. So that's hopefully what I wanted to get across, is that the app is an extension of your library. Okay, great. So I already have a number of questions that come up. So please, feel free to type those in to the dashboard, and I can answer a few here for you. But also, email me, brian@boopsie.com anytime, and we can help you with your Boopsie Analytics login, or go over some of the numbers as well, and then talk about how we can improve those numbers. So next week is our Access 360 customer webinar. Please join us for that one at 1 p.m. Eastern. It's October 15th. And then if you are going to any of those conferences, the New England Library Association later this month, Internet Library Conference later this month, or New York and California Library Association conferences in November, please stop by and say hi. But yeah, thanks very much again for joining. Let me get to a couple of questions here. So so Tim had a great question. Is downloads only triggered through us, or are we aggregating accounts from the various stores like iTunes and the Google Play Store? So for these numbers, it's just triggered through the app. Sometimes we can go and look at the Apple Developer account or Google Play Store downloads as well, but obviously it's harder to do. We can't do anything where we directly take it from there. So although you can see those downloads, I believe, if you log in yourself. So right now, this is only for those when they download the app and then they actually do some sort of action. They have to open the app as well. That's what we count as a download. So I hope that makes sense, Tim. And Tim had another great question. Are users really devices? So he's trying to say, or he said, for instance, if I use the app on my iPhone and my iPad, do I count as 2 users for the period? And that's a good point. That would count as 2 users. So we can't, we can't specify between, your own device. So even if you log in your My Library account, that's not quite how the system works. So you can, if people are accessing it on multiple devices, it will count those as different unique users. So I guess we could say unique devices, but I think the majority of people, from what we found anecdotally and through talking with people and through surveys, it's people typically access the app through one device. But that's a good point and a good thing to keep in mind, and maybe as a an asterisk or something if you're reporting these to your staff. Vicki had a great question. Are there plans to provide data for the items on the submenus? Or do they only get data for visits on the main menu? And yes, absolutely. So the next phase, a couple of things we would like to include. One of the main things is submenu visits as well. So for instance, a lot of people have an online resources page. So you click on that. That counts as a main menu channel visit. And then the next step will be in that resources channel, I might say, EBSCO, Mango Languages, ProQuest, things like that. And then we would give you those submenu visits to see how many people clicked on the EBSCO host integration, for example. So yeah, great question, and that will be in the next phase of data. Larry asked, will it be a recorded version? Yes, definitely, and everyone who registered will receive an email tomorrow with the recorded version. so you can check that out, and it will be on our website as well on the URL that's on our screen. Should be this week. Okay, so Diane had a login question. Diane, I'll write down your name, but please email me too if you get a chance, and we'll fix that for you right away. Okay, and Grace had a hi Grace. We had a couple questions. Our email reports plan for the dashboard. So my guess is you're saying, will you be able to create a report and then just email it directly from the dashboard? That's great input. My guess is that probably has been planned, but that's just, I'm not positive if it is planned for the next phase. So we will make sure to get in there soon. That's a great feature. Okay, great. And Grace, you had one more question about changing the calendar date. When I change the calendar date and I go to generate a second report, the calendar doesn't keep the date. Yeah, I guess that is kind of a just an annoyance, kind of a bug though. But let me see if I can get that fixed. That's a good point. So you don't have to keep going back and changing the date. Great. Yeah. Thank you very much for that feedback, Grace, and for all your questions. And I didn't see any other questions. So if anyone has any, feel free to type them in. I'll hang on the line for a couple more minutes. And of course, just email me at brian@boopsie.com for any additional questions or if things come up later. And if you need any help or just for Boopsie Analytics or anything else in your app. So again, thanks so much for attending, and have a great rest of your week. And we'll talk to everyone soon.